Well, I've had kind of a rough day. The power has been out for most of the day, and the heat in Arizona being what it is, about 105 degrees every day in the summer, and with no air conditioning, I had to sleep and spend most of the day in that kind of heat. So needless to say, I was not in a good mood, and fortunately, Sam Raimi's movie Drag Me to Hell is exactly what I needed to pull myself out of my funk, because I can tell you now, without a doubt, that Drag Me to Hell was one of the most fun, most exhilarating, best movie-going experiences I have had in a long time. And that's saying something, because this movie year has been kind of disappointing. In fact, most of these movie years lately have been very disappointing, because I don't think... Drag Me to Hell and Star Trek both capture, I think, what is necessary about the movie-going experience. And I think that, to some degree, has been lost in several areas. Is that, first and foremost, movies should be entertaining. They should be fun. And I think Sam Raimi gets that like very few directors do. And especially, he manages to encapsulate what I think the horror genre should be. And it captures exactly how wrong the genre of horror has gone in the past few years. Because his movie is such a throwback to his previous movies, but at the same time creating something new, that it's really hard to wrap your head around at how good this movie is and how bad horror has been since movies like Evil Dead 2. It's simply phenomenal to watch this movie going on screen, and how much you have missed Sam Raimi making movies like this. It's just incredible. You know what it's like? This is the cinematic equivalent of watching Eddie Van Halen play Eruption live. I mean, this guy is so good at doing what he does that I'm almost glad he doesn't make more horror movies like this, because I don't think the world could handle it. I think we would get spoiled on movies this good. I think it's better to wait for movies like this than any number of like Japanese or Chinese horror remakes, or, God help us, the torture porn genre. And this is exactly what I think horror has gone wrong, is because Sam Raimi manages to balance out just the right degree of like gore, intensity, and silliness in such a way that it's perfect. Because too much humor and it becomes a parody, it becomes way too silly. Too much gore or death or just not enough fun, not enough humor, and it becomes really uncomfortable and not as much fun to watch. And that's exactly the problem I have with movies like Hostel or the entire Saw series, not to mention the fact that Saw has gone on way past its lifespan. What is it, 5 movies? And you know, people are making fun of Saw for like, what's the next movie going to be, Saw in Space? You just wait, pal. I think it's coming. But it's not fun to watch. I mean, we get enough human-on-human cruelty. I don't think we need to make up anything more than that. I think Sam Raimi manages to capture exactly that kind of mysterious and at the same time just campy enough experience to make the horror experience sufficiently cheesy to be fun to watch. And that's all I'm saying when it comes to horror. That we go to horror movies because being scared is fun. And I keep using that word, but that's all I'm talking about. I'm not going to spoil it for you, because that would be pretty unforgivable. But trust me, if you were at all a fan of any of Sam Raimi's previous work, if you're a fan of horror and genre, or if you're just willing to listen to my recommendation, you owe it to yourself to go see Drag Me to Hell. And this is about as close to a glowing review as I ever get. And believe me, I'm not used to it. But I walked out of that theater with a smile on my face. I was surprised. And I really felt compelled to get this on tape as soon as possible, because I want you to see how happy I am at having been given my money's worth for a change at the movie theater. Beyond that, if I were to make some complaints or criticisms, is that I think actually having a high production budget is probably Sam Raimi's biggest enemy. In the sense that I kind of would have liked to have seen this movie made in a much grittier, low-budget style. I think sometimes the CG kind of shows at the seams. Maybe there's a little too much of it. And I think in a couple of scenes, maybe it gets a little too slapsticky. But at the same time, those were the exact type of scenes that had the audience rolling. That had, like, he had them in the palm of his hand. People were covering their eyes. They couldn't stand to watch some scenes. but they were smiling, when they couldn't look. They were like, "Oh my God, this is nasty," things like that. You just don't get that with many movies anymore. And I think Sam Raimi manages to grasp and manipulate the audience in such a way because he knows what they want to see. He knows what makes people squirm, what makes them laugh, and he manages to put all of that on the screen at the same time. So that's it. If you go see any other movie, Drag Me to Hell, believe me, go see it. And I really would like to see the movie Up, because I've heard nothing but good things about that. So who knows? I might get in front of this camera pretty quick this weekend after seeing Up. I'm going in there with a pretty positive attitude, and it's all thanks to Drag Me to Hell.